Hello, my friends. Hello. Welcome to a live stream with Rachel and Carrie. I'm Rachel Archelaus, founder of the Intuitive Art Academy and creator and host of the Daily Alignment Show on this very channel. This is Carrie Roldan, your business BFF, and so much more. And we are here today to talk about reclaiming your confidence. Yay! If you got my email, you'll know lately I discovered, oh, wait a minute, I am not feeling as confident as I should be or have been. And it sort of snuck up on me. I didn't really notice it for a while, but I know why that happened. We're going to talk about that today. And we're also going to talk about if you find yourself in that position, what to do about it. So, yeah. We're here to answer any of your questions about confidence or anything else related to this topic. And we are glad to connect with you today. Hi, Carrie.
Hey, Rachel. Always glad to connect with you guys. So if you are here with us live, say hello in the chat. It brightens our day. And I had a confidence epiphany or breakthrough, I don't know, like at least 16, 17 years ago, maybe longer. I was at a MOPS event, which is like for mothers of preschoolers. And one of the speakers said, I am a really confident person and I'm deeply insecure. And I was like, oh, me too. Like it was the first time that I think that I recognized that those things could coexist. And so that really, really, really helped me. It helped me so much, like own my confidence, reclaim my confidence, and also be okay or like be able to recognize the areas in my life where I was deeply insecure. I think what I was feeling was like I present as confident and then I feel like a fraud because I'm not necessarily confident in every situation, everywhere, all the time. And somehow just hearing that other people could be both confident and insecure helped me relax and feel more confident in general. So
That's awesome.
yeah. So yeah, I'm excited to have this conversation and wondering if any of you guys watching, if you resonate with that, both confident and deeply insecure.
You know, I think for me, I've always presented as very confident as well and feel pretty confident because I don't second guess myself very often, which is really big. You know, a lot of our lack of confidence comes from just not being able to trust ourselves. And I think on a deeper level, if you are embodied enough to know that you're here to live your own life, confidence just comes naturally because you're not trying to live for anyone else. You're not trying to get validation from outside of you. And you're aware that you are capable of making your own decisions and dealing with whatever happens. And then if you add on top of that, the knowledge that we are the creators of our lives, well, then confidence is inevitable because if you create your life, then of course you can trust what you're wanting to do and you know that your outcomes are going to be what you want and all this stuff. So we're going to get into all that. This isn't my only thing to say here, but like really if you want to like drill it down, confidence is about living for yourself and knowing you're the creator. That's pretty empowering right there.
Well, and when you are there, so like where I was that 15 years ago, right? I was feeling that existence of like presenting as confident and feeling like I feel like I've always known myself, and I've always like you. I don't think everybody is necessarily like us, Rachel, though. Like I've always actually trusted myself pretty much. I think the times where I felt insecure, I'm sure a lot of people can relate, right? We feel insecure when our inner voice is telling us one thing and our brain or our life or like something external is telling us something else, right? Like that's when we feel insecure, when we're like, wait, but my insides say yes and the world is saying no, or vice versa. But what you're talking about almost I don't know if confidence is okay. I sometimes get hung up on words. But what you're talking about is like a whole next level of confidence compared to what I would have thought it was 15 years ago. The level of confidence I am experiencing now, although I still have places, there are still situations in my life where I can fall back into things. But for the most part, it's almost to the level of not caring. Like there's such a is detachment the right word? It's just such an inner knowing that like whatever the voices are around me, whatever anything else is like, okay, whatever. It's like that. Where I think I would have described confidence before as like knowing I can win, or knowing, I don't know, like they're a little bit more push energy than the way I experience confidence now, which is just like unconcerned with with what everybody else thinks.
Yeah, that's interesting. I can see that. Yeah. And I'll say like there's a part of me that still has that kind of confidence or lack of confidence, right? Like there is an opportunity at my gym to do events sometimes, and I've thought about doing some of them, but if I don't think I can do really, really well, for me, I just don't want to do it. And now there's probably a lot of other things that go into that. Like I have to pay for it. I have to get up early for it, which is definitely not my highest excitement usually. But I think, yeah, for the most part, what we all really want is a deep inner knowing that we're going to be okay. And I think that's what confidence really is. It's that knowing like we're okay and we're going to be okay. And you can't fake that, like when I was younger, it's so interesting to think about this because I always have presented as confident. I've always cared very little about what other people think of me. I've always been very different presenting and internally and all the things. But at the same time as that I knew I would be okay, I was also very much not okay. Like I think confidence, if you have that within you, it can get you to a place where you are okay. Like if I think about my past, I really had to rely on that inner strength to know that everything would work out eventually. And it did. And so I'm glad I listened to it. And so this is a really big topic. Like this is very personal. This is very meaningful. If you are feeling a lack of confidence, then you're probably not used to listening to your inner voice. You're probably not used to consulting and following through with your intuition, because I have some notes here as usual. And the first note that I wrote is that your higher self is always confident. Always confident. And so there's a part of you, the biggest part of you is always confident. And that's something that you can rely on when you're not feeling okay and when you don't believe that everything will work out. So I think as a baseline, practicing that connection will lead to more confidence. And when I lose my confidence, which again, it doesn't happen very often, and it's not to a big degree, it's just like a very small shutting down. It's usually because, and I wrote this down too, I'm telling a story that I don't want to live. I'm feeling some kind of victimization, or I'm complaining, telling a story I don't want to live, and I'm being a victim. That'll take you out of it right away, because what does that do? That says I'm not the creator, and I'm not okay, and everything's not working out for me, right? The total opposite of the truth. Can anyone relate to that from time to time? Yeah.
Yeah, as you're talking about it, I think I was talking to you about it. Like, for the most part, I feel pretty amazing, pretty confident, and yet there's a few people in my life who I feel like can kind of like rip that out from under me. And what is the story that I tell about those people, right? Is that like it's a little complainy, it's a little victimy, it's a little they are oppressors, they are trying to control me, they are, right? And so, yes, I'm raising my hand. I can relate to that.
Yeah. So what do we do about that? What do I do about that? I like to meditate, and I like to pre-pave. So what I've been doing recently is, actually, let's back up a little bit. What happens when you lose your confidence? I'm so sorry about the light. I cannot fix it. There's like clouds and sun, and I'm just going to be a glowing mess today. So what happens when I lose my confidence is that then I go into like survivor savior mode of like, oh my God, what do I have to do to fix this? And it's never in here. It's always out in the world, right? I need to control the situation. I need to change someone. I need to mess around with my business model or whatever it is that's bothering me. I have to fix it out there, which never, ever, 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 ever will work. It will never work because the problem is in here. And the only reason that there's a problem is because we're not connected to our higher selves. So that is where I go to actually fix things, right? I meditate to find myself reconnected. And sometimes I just will sit down or lay down on my couch and say, I want my higher self to fill me up. And like, that's really the only intention that it takes, right? I want to reconnect with my higher self. I want to be animated by my higher self. And I've even done that at the gym for like a benchmark test or something. If I want to like perform at my best in any way, I want to be filled up and connected to my higher self. So that's number one. And then number two, once I'm feeling better, I pre-pave. Well, because I'm the creator, what do I want? That's the only question we ever really have to answer from a good feeling place. What do I want? How do I want it to be? If it's not how I want it to be, how do I want it to be? And that feels so good. Oh, that's all I have to do? Oh, okay. Yeah, this is what I want. Blah, 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 right there. And then going forward, don't look at the outer results yet, let's say, right? It's going to take a little time for you to build up the momentum inside of you to change the outside world. It will happen, but don't just then go like meditate and then look at the outside. Well, it's not changing yet. I'm still going to feel bad. That's not going to help you. And so what I do in the meantime is, because then once I'm feeling good and I have my ideal life all up in my business and I'm feeling it, like I'm going to see things that I want to buy. That's always what happens to me. Like, oh my God, the most amazing blazer and it's $700 and that's the sale price. Okay, sure. I could rush out and buy it, but I would feel uncomfortable perhaps. I wanted to feel, oh yeah, of course, let me take that home. Or whatever it else. I just really have expensive taste and I love things like that. So it's lots of things, right? And I want that experience of like unconditional, everything's mine. And so I give myself that vibrationally. That's in my vortex, and that's in my vortex, and that's in my vortex. And I feel like, yes, I'm inviting these things into my life and I'm playing with them. And that feels good. And that's satiating my desire while I'm waiting for my outer world to catch back up with me. Because I have had lots of experiences where I'm like, yes, yes, yes. And I'm buying everything up that I want. But there are some times when I also want to just have that vibrationally and I want to wait for some things to catch up. And it does work. It's incredible. And often I get way more or better than what I even wanted when I didn't have something. So it's a cycle. And the only reason it's a cycle is because we forget that we're the creator and we get into these weird, bad moods from time to time. And it can be so subtle. Like with me, it's so subtle. You know, I don't think anyone from the outside world would necessarily just be like, oh, Rachel's off right now, you know, but it happens to all of us. And that's why it's so important to know that we can get back on track whenever we want, whenever we remember, and it's not hard.
You said the word that was important to me, which is just remembering. Like, honestly, I think that our whole like alignment journey is it's just a process of remembering. Like a process of remembering, what does it feel like to be, like you said, filled up with my higher self? Like that's a process of remembering. So I love that. I couldn't agree more. I'm yawning. I've been yawning through this whole call already. Yeah. So what I want to know though, you said your higher self is always confident. And there's an association in my brain um with that push energy of confidence I was talking about earlier, right? The confidence that's like, I know I'm going to win. But it has this like hype yourself up kind of feeling. And then there's the confidence of, I know I'm going to win because I already created the outcome. It already is like, right? It's like a different, maybe one side of that is confident with a slight amount of bravado, right? And the other one is like confidence with this huge level of peace. And that is the confidence that I think you're talking about, right? Like this just, and what I was talking about early on, like, not that I don't care. I care. I'm just unconcerned. I'm not worried about the win because I'm already playing with it in my vortex. I think is the um a good way to think about it or talk about it. So I'm wondering how this is landing with everybody who's watching. So let us know if this is resonating, if your idea of what confidence feels like is evolving. Because I think it's this. I think, Rachel, my younger self thought confidence was knowing I'm good at something. And now confidence is knowing.
Yeah, well, I think in order to be good at something in like that first confident way you were talking about with the bravado, there's some competition layered in that.
Yeah.
And there really isn't any competition.
Yeah.
And so once you drop that, once you drop measuring yourself against other people, then you have the peace, because there is no measuring yourself against other people where your higher self is concerned, right? Everyone is a source being. Everyone is equally capable of whatever it is they want to do, you know? And you know, I've been thinking about that. I would love to get it's a little bit of a side shoot, but you know, I've been thinking about the whole transgender sports situation and how we as a culture, society, we are redefining sports with the introduction of openly transgender people participating. And there's a lot of like, what is this going to do to sports? Where do we put these people, right? And we really are moving in the direction of dropping competition amongst people who are on this path, you know? And so what would it look like to have sports, to have people competing at the highest level, breaking boundaries, right? Pushing the limits, where there's also no competition. Like, I think that's where we're going, because that is the only real, like, fair playing field, but where everyone gets to do exactly what they want to do. Now, I don't have any answers. I don't really know, but like, that's just the feeling I've been getting when I've been thinking about this, because everyone deserves to compete, right? And everyone who wants to compete is as dedicated as the other. And I just think in order for this to really play out long term, that's the direction we probably need to go.
Well, I do have opinions, right? I take issue with the fact that everyone who wants to compete is as dedicated as the other. No, they're not.
I know. Yeah. I mean, when I was saying that, I was like, Carrie's not going to agree with that. But I think there is the, I guess what I mean is like, people, no matter what gender they are, no matter where they are in the field, if they want to compete, they're doing their best. You know, like anyway, we could go down a rabbit hole there.
Right, because I'm like, no, they're not. I've got this kid on my team. And he is so talented and he loves competing. And during the race, he's going to give a really good effort. But he's not doing his best because he's so talented that he doesn't have to try very hard. Like during the week, he just farts around, right? So he has an unfair advantage of raw talent compared to the other freshman boys in the field. He's just born better, right? Like now he doesn't work as hard. And so over the course of, this year, the other freshmen are getting closer. Over the course of the next few years, if this kid continues to like stay on our team, he will be passed, right? Because if he doesn't put in the work, his talent will only take him so far, right? If he doesn't put in the work, his talent isn't going to take him as far as he thought it would, or where we would say like he wants to go. But the truth is he doesn't want to go there, or he would work harder. He just wants to go as far as his talent will take him without working very hard. So like everybody's not the same amount of dedicated. They're just not, right? And that is where the whole transgender thing gets so tricky. And, my sport is one that is running, right? So it is like everybody runs the same amount of distance. Everybody runs basically the same course. So as far as like a fair playing field goes, like, okay. And whether or not you're transgendered, people are starting with different levels of access to great coaching, different levels of access to, appropriate footwear, different levels of access to weight room, or, like they live in different climates where it's like there's no even playing field anywhere ever. And I sort of think that's the goal of sports, though, is to like, we're all doing our best to make sure that it's fair. And so it is super tricky. I was talking to a mutual friend of ours who happens to have a transgendered child. And she was saying the same thing. Like, yeah, she's like, I am all for like, transgendered rights everywhere. She's like, except sports. She's like, because my child was born with a different hormone balance that gives her an unfair advantage against the other hers in the race. And I was saying like, yeah, but if she's in a transgendered race, and this person isn't going to race anyways, but herein lies the issue, right? Someone who was born female and then is transgender, I don't know how to say it, transitioned to male, right? That person has a disadvantage against the other males. So while everyone's saying, at least we had at the California State meet, there were two transgendered females that made the state meet. And there was a big controversy over that, and they both wound up withdrawing from competition. But because everyone was saying it's not fair, they have an unfair advantage. And they definitely had an easier path to the state meet than some of the other kids, but their path to the state meet wasn't like, let's just say they faced all sorts of different challenges, right? Anyways, but nobody would have been complaining if, I suddenly, this is a bad example, but like if I just decided, well, I'm going to jump in the men's race because I've decided that I'm going to be transgender. I know you don't decide to be transgender male, but that was the talk, was like, oh, anybody can just decide to be a girl and get in the girls' race. I thought, isn't that interesting? Nobody's complaining about anyone can decide to be a boy and be in the boys' race. Like, nobody's saying a word about that. All of this to be said is yes, and right? There's something to be said for fair play. There's something to be said for the joy of playing the game, for the joy of the competition. I'm thinking about a soccer game or a hockey game. Like, a race is great. A race is great because you run your best and you're competing against other people in the race, but you're also competing against the last time you ran, right? You're competing against yourself. But a game that is played, right? I don't know. That's tricky. There's something to be said for like playing the game and coming out victorious. And is there joy in just the playing? Yes. But is there more joy in the competing for the win? I say yes. So that's the tricky part. It's never fair. It's never fair. And we strive for fair play.
Interesting.
That was my rant.
Yeah. So where do we go from here? Where are you wanting more confidence? I think for me, I just want to remember more often that I'm a creator. I want to feel empowered as the creator of my life from the moment I wake up till the moment I go to sleep. And I have installed some new habits to do that, which I think are really fun. Like, I have an app on my phone that reminds me that I want to align to certain things throughout the day, and that I want to meditate every day, that I want to go outside, that I want to do certain things that help me feel connected and like the creator that I am. And the more I do that, I have been doing some version of that since I was in my early 20s. Remembering to be grounded, remembering to be centered, remembering to be aligned. And just having someone or something remind me of that is the biggest hurdle of them all. It's like, I've tried post-it notes. I have an app now. I've had coaches and people and groups, and it all helps. Every single one of them helps, because we are retraining ourselves to think of ourselves as, victims, complaining about things because that's what everybody else does. So we want to be relatable. So we want to like have struggles in our lives, right? If you watch TV, that's what you're seeing. If you go out in the world, you have a job, you have coworkers, like, you're surrounded by victimization and complaining all the time. But what you want to be is surrounded by empowered creators all the time. So whether you have to create that environment from scratch, or you join a group like our coaching group, which is what we do, we provide you the environment to be the conscious creator of your life. You watch the Daily Alignment show. Somebody said it was like vibrational, like training boot camp kind of thing. I don't remember the exact words that they used, but something like that. That's what I want. I want to be, I don't want to have to remember. I want to be embodied in my creatorhood all day. And I'm getting there.
And there's something about the reminders, the remembering. Maybe it's because I'm not living fully embodied all the time. But the remembering just brings me into appreciation,
Mhm.
right? Like when I'm feeling good and then I get a reminder to feel good, I'm like, oh, yeah, it's to remind I'm here. Like, and then it feels even better. Then it's like,
Mhm.
so what I'm getting is I don't think there's anything wrong with needing reminders because
No,
reminders,
of course not. I just love being there, you know? I'd rather be there than need a reminder, but there's nothing wrong with reminders. The point of the reminder is to prompt you to be there. But if you're there already, great. And
so
one of the things we do in our group is dream casting, pre-paving. How do you want it? How do you want it? I've been having so much fun designing that. I'm not really a journaler, but I've been like writing down in my notebook the past 2 days, like, okay, my ideal session to give, my ideal workflow, my ideal business. It's been so much fun to like see it how I want to see it.
you know what's been fun about that for me and has actually brought me a lot of confidence is continuing to do that, continuing to go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. I think I told you guys I've been drawing cards from my BFF deck for I don't know, several weeks now. And like day after day after day after day, I would shuffle and I would draw that same card. I would draw what do you desire, right? Breathe in to sire. And I was like loving that, like, okay, think about what you want. Think about what you want. And I was kind of getting irritated that it kept asking me the same question. And what I recognized though was like I was looking for a band-aid. I was looking for a solution to the problem. So I was like, what do you want? I want the solution to the problem. What do you want? I want the problem to be solved. What do you want? And like it kept asking me, yeah, but what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Until finally I was like, what do I want? I got to a place of knowing that the problem was solved, even though I hadn't yet like seen the solution I was asking for, right? Like I got to the place of knowing like this is solved. This is taken care of. But then like continuing to ask myself that, okay, what do I want? What do I want? Well, I then got to like, oh, you know what I would really want? Oh, you know what would be like the best? It was like I wouldn't let myself get to what I really wanted because I was trying to solve a problem. And the confidence lives in like answering that, like, what do I really want? Like, oh, you know, it would be amazing and fun and super easy and like, excuse me, made me burp talking about it. um, yeah, just leaning further and further into answering that question. What do you
Mhm.
want? What do you want? No, but really, what do you want? Okay, so if you had that, then what would you want? Right? Like it's it's been fun going down that path. And while you were talking earlier, I drew a card for us on this call today. And this is fun. It is super appropriate for me and everything I've been talking about for the past couple of days. Super appropriate for what Intimate Alien has been saying on the Daily Alignment show this week. And it's so fun for me because I don't think I've ever drawn this card before. So, like, I've been drawing the same cards day after day after day after day. And here's one I don't know if I've ever seen. Um, but I do think it relates to confidence. So it says, I can't see it there. Hold on. Allowing joy equals the fastest path to financial peace and joy. And I don't know about you, but allowing joy is also the fastest path to me to relaxing, to feeling confident.
Mhm.
My sources of greatest confidence are the sources of greatest joy.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what else I love about all of this confidence stuff and joy and like letting yourself be
Knowing,
a ghost, um, is that the physical part just comes in effortlessly. Like I I've had a dream of writing a TV show or like even being on TV, not as an actor, but as, maybe like as Intimate Alien on the Today Show or something, And back in the day, I used to think like, oh, and I auditioned for a television show last year that's actually on air right now. If you have Hulu, I don't remember the name of it, but it's the queer ghost hunting show with Kristen Stewart. It's on Hulu right now. I did not get cast, but I auditioned. And I used to think back in the day, like, well, I'd have to have straight teeth to be on TV, or I'd need to lose a few pounds to be on TV. Um, and this was just a long time ago that I thought this. And then, I didn't get braces for a really long time. I didn't lose weight. I've always been thin, but, to be like on TV, you got to be like television thin. And, or at least most people are, not that you need to be. So those were places of insecurity, is what I'm trying to say, right? I'm not ready for that yet, was a very underlying thought that I had in my brain. And then I've really doubled down the last few years on my alignment. As your capacity grows, you can do more of that, right? So I've grown my capacity to be aligned over the last few years, and I've kept up and done it more. And then all of a sudden, oh, I'm signed up for, orthodontic care. Mostly because I just felt ready. I didn't do it for any specific outcome other than to have like a healthy bite, but that will give me straight teeth. And the process of that, holy cow, I've lost like 5 pounds. And even now that my teeth are healing from my procedure, because of these things that are in my mouth, you can't just eat all day like I used to do, because I'm a very slow eater and I usually just ate all day. And now, so I have meal times. I haven't put the weight back on, which I figured would happen. And it's like, okay, well, I also have a television show or a YouTube show that I would love to be picked up by different networks. So did I actually put myself in the position to have what I want, but effortlessly and not from insecurity? I didn't do any of these things because I was insecure. I did them because I was ready and I wanted to, and they would be healthy for me to do. So what I'm getting at is like, it's okay if you want to change your body. It's okay if you want to change your circumstances. It's okay if you want to change your bank account. But the solution, the actual filling in of that, it's not going to happen because you make yourself. It's not going to happen because of insecurity and shaming yourself into doing it. It's going to happen when you actually get aligned and happy and confident. And then you will be animated to do it effortlessly by being in alignment with your desires. So you're never giving up on anything when you let go of your insecurity and get aligned and happy and joyful, like the card said. That's when it's actually going to happen.
I love that. And it's so true. I'm thinking of all the things in my life that have been that way. Like when I'm taking, so one of the sort of buzzwords in our industry, in really just like entrepreneurialism, right, is take massive action. And I had a client say that to me this week. Like I forget what the question I asked her for, but the question I asked, but her answer was, I need to take massive action. And I was like, I mean, no, like, no, you don't. But what we got to the place is like, no, you need to have massive fun. You need to create massive joy in your life. That may or may not result in massive action, right? But it will be highly leveraged because it's coming from joy. And yeah, you're so spot on. Like if you had decided, I want to be on TV, so I need to get my teeth straightened, right? Like potentially neither of those things would have happened. Or you would have gotten your teeth straightened. It would have been an unpleasant experience. Like just who knows, right? But instead you have these like separate intentions. And you are loving and gentle and joyful. And there's this like unfolding, this like unfurling before your eyes where we have the ability to connect the dots like, oh, maybe that and that and that. But they don't feel like one leads to the next. It just will be fun in hindsight to go back and go like, look at that. Look at how that worked out. But it all came from being fully embodied, relaxing, listening, and like you said, being at a place of readiness, being confident enough to go to the orthodontist that you love, being confident enough to tell the orthodontist, because you went to that orthodontist a long time ago before you finally said yes, right? Being confident
Years ago, yeah.
Yeah, to say no, to say not yet. I love that.
You know, Abraham says you're getting ready to be ready to be ready to be ready. And I swear, I mean, that's really how it feels, you know, because I talked about this last time, but it's like, I really wasn't ready before. I wasn't ready. And now I'm ready for so many things. I've started so many things this year that I've been thinking about for years and years and years and years and years. And it's so easy now. And it's cheaper than I ever thought it would be. Like I have, you know, lots of insurance to pay for this. And I had a credit on my account and I had all this, like, it's just all easy now. It's easy. And you guys know how much I love easy. I am the ease queen. And I need to make a sweatshirt with that on it because I love being the ease queen because it's so fun and it's so easy. Highly recommend.
Yeah. I did a drawing this week. I sent it to Rachel, but I'm staring up at it right now. And the question was about like, how do I get to this life that I've imagined? And the feeling of the drawing, like there is this, my color red. It is passion. It is fervor. It is like my big desires. Like that is there. But it's surrounded by so much softness, like so much gentleness, so much grounded, easy, relaxedness. And I think that's what we're talking about, even with like how to reclaim your confidence. It's I guess all the relaxation that I'm seeing in my drawing, like my word for that is surrender, right? And it is just allowing. Surrender is allowing. It's like letting go. At least this is how I perceive surrender. Letting go of whatever things I've built up, whatever personality things, whatever story that I'm telling myself, whatever obstacles that I've decided are going to make it so that it can't be. Just surrendering. I'm giving all that up and I'm creating space to allow, whether it's laying on the couch and allowing a higher self get back in here, right? Which always leads to allowing more joy, allowing relaxation, allowing things to unfold in perfect time, being in the place of knowing. And that space of allowing, that's the confidence I feel now all the time. Like, okay, I've got an outcome that I want, and I know it's on its way.
Yes, exactly. I always used to think too that, like, you know, when I was starting my business and this was like 13 years ago now almost, and I've been like doing local stuff before that. It always seemed to me that the advice was always like there's so much to do. You have to learn all these things. You have to implement all these systems. You have to show up and be in all the social groups and network and comment and meet people. And like, that was really overwhelming, even when I was so excited to do it all. I had the most excitement, right? Because I was in the beginning of the journey, and I quickly learned that following word for word what someone else was telling me to do was a killer for me. Like, it totally backfired. And then I learned, oh, right, I have discernment. I need to figure out what will work for me, and I can take advice, but it has to resonate. Okay, check. But like, I kept hearing the same thing every time I would check in with my higher self for years and years and years and years. When I would check in with my higher self, how do I get there? How do I get to my future? My future self. Carrie has a meditation on that, by the way. It always said, relax. So here I was in the beginning, all tensed up, trying to implement all these things. And of course, in alignment in between that. I got some good stuff out. I blogged, and I had great sessions and great meditations. But in between that, trying to build the business, and like, I know now, and I knew pretty quickly then, that the success that I got was trickling in between the moments of stress. It wasn't the massive action. It wasn't the doing it all, meeting it all that actually did anything for me. It was the backing off and relaxing and doing the things that I wanted to do, the things that were bubbling out of me naturally. That's where the success came in, because we live in an attractive universe. We have to be what we want. We have to be the magnet that matches what we want. I mean, just look around you at all the people who are living the same day over and over and over and over and over again, thinking that it's going to get better, but it doesn't. It gets worse because they complain about it, and then they get more to complain about. And like, relax and get to know who you are, because that's all you need to know. Quite literally, we're all here on our own path. No one else has done your path perfectly. You're going to have to make your own decisions at some point. And feeling that inner backup of your higher self is going to give you the confidence to make those decisions. Nobody in my life thought that going to grad school was necessary or worth it. Maybe except my sister, because she totally gets me. But now it looks like it might even get paid for by someone that I love. So like, you never know, like, even the naysayers can come around, because alignment and truth are game changers. They change your world. They change the people in your world. You are the creator. So when you line up with yourself and make decisions based on your truth, the world changes to meet you. And it never gets old. Just like intuitive art for me never gets old. I'm always blown away by intuitive art. Being the creator and living my truth never gets old. Always gets better and better and better and better and better.
That was Abraham would call it like a positive rampage, right?
Nice.
So good, Rachel. And yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. Like, one, patience patience and I aren't always friends. And when you feel true confidence, which is listening to yourself, right? When you're really listening to yourself, just like my higher self also 99% of the time, if I do my future self visualization, you have a conversation with your future self. She gives you advice, and 99% of the time, the advice for me is relax. Take a chill pill. It's all working out. So that's such a reminder, right? Our higher self is telling that. Our future self is telling us that. And yet our world is like, you need to stress about this. You need to figure it out. You need to do something right now, right? And like, the more I learn to respond with go inward, relax, listen to yourself, take a beat, right? Like take a moment. Or accept what is, right? Like stop fighting what is in front of you. Let's just accept that this is here right now and lean into what you want. So for me, you were talking about competition earlier. The other side of that is comparison, which they're like super close, right? But you were talking about like listening to people who say, I have the formula. I will teach you exactly what I did to get there. Um, it is easy. I mean, we do this all the time. Rachel and I were like, you could be like so and so who did this or so and so who did that. Like there's comparison has its good side too. Um, but anyways, it's such a reminder. Like I have a knowing, a deep knowing of all the good, the continual good that is coming to me. Just like you have that deep knowing about being on television, the deep knowing about writing, right? Like we have deep knowings about this. The deep knowing for me is the confidence right now. When I can move through the world relaxed and without a sense of urgency, but with a deep sense of knowing, things unfold. When I find myself in that sense of urgency, it's usually because I've disconnected from my confidence, right? I found some sort of a, like insecurity, which makes things feel urgent. Um, and we don't, it's a ton of effort and not a lot of reward. And so I guess my encouragement to everyone is just it's easy to look at other people who have what you want and think, oh, if I just did what they did, or I'll just do what they do. But go here first. Because so often, like there's plenty of things for me I could be doing right now. But every time I go in, like my message is like, nope, just wait. Just hold on. Everything's working out. Things are unfolding in front of you. And then sure enough, just like Rachel, right? Then you look back and go, oh, dang. Oh, there's those things I was asking for. There they are. Hmm.
Yeah, I feel like today's been interesting because I don't know, there's something very like present about what we're talking about. Maybe we're in the middle of some kind of like celestial opening. I don't know, but like I feel like we're so in the moment today, and that whoever is watching this, and hi Mark, thanks for being here. Like we're all on the same wavelength, and I really like that. So what is your link, Carrie, to your future self meditation?
Oh, yes, I tried to put it in there, and the system says comment has failed to post to Rachel Archelaus. So it's my website, carrieroldan.com/future self. Yeah, guys, do it. It's a good one.
Yeah, she's done that with our dream casting call before, and everyone loves it so much. So definitely give it a try. And yeah, I'm out of words, I think. I don't know what else to add to this because all I want to say is like you matter, like your truth, you are here as a unique expression of source, and whatever it is that's in here is worthy of you investing time in, and whether or not the world gets to see it doesn't matter, right? It's you living your truth, and there's nothing better than that. So yeah, good luck. Good luck. I love that.
Your path is your path, right? There are so many different paths. I'm thinking about like Abraham talks about like if you go off the path, it's fine. Like it'll reroute. But your path is your path. And you know you're on the path in here. Not because you're checking things off somebody else's list of like do you see this benchmark? Do you see that benchmark? You'll see them if you just keep checking. Am I on the path? Is this my path? Right? Like, so yeah, you've got this.
yeah, keep letting those dreams come true. It's so fun. Intimate Alien is hosting the Daily Alignment Show this week, and I think it was yesterday where she said, like, being human is so much fun. And it really is. It's so much fun. If we let it be fun, it's so much fun. We have so much choice and experience and like stimulus and relationships. You know, it just really doesn't get better than this. So I guess I'll plug next week. Next week, we're doing non-physical appreciation week in honor of Halloween. And I'm channeling a few of my favorite non-physical beings. And we're doing something spooky on Friday. We're talking to maybe the foremost paranormal investigator of all time, who is passed away. We talked to her. And then on Halloween, there's a surprise, and I'm not going to spoil it. So make sure to subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell, and thank you to everyone who's watching. I love, love, love waking up to your comments. It is like so much fun.
That just got a yawn for me. I'm excited for next week. I'm excited for the Daily Alignment Show every day, but now you've got me very excited for next week.
Yay! Nice. Yeah, follow your dreams, everybody. It's worth it.
All right. Thanks, Rachel.
You're welcome. Thank you, Carrie. And I think that's it from us. So thanks, everybody, for watching. And we love you. And we will see you next week. All right.
Bye, guys.